Hey guys, now if you haven't heard, Pixar recently have decided to push back quite a few of their sequels that were planned to come out in the next few years. Now if it was just one or two films, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest. But seeing that they've pushed back so many, I kind of have to talk about it. The films in question that have been pushed back are Toy Story 4, Cars 3, Incredibles 2, and I think Finding Dory. I'm not 100% sure about that one, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Just to get my point across a little more clearer, I'm going to talk about each film individually and what I think of the changes. And the first one that I'm going to talk about is Cars 3. Now, in my opinion, and quite a few people's opinion, Cars 2 didn't need to happen. No one asked for it. And no one asked for Cars 3 either. I mean, there were some people that liked it, but a large majority of people didn't. So, why we're getting it is beyond me. But I suppose the fact that it's been pushed back quite a lot means that we won't have to deal with it for quite some time, which is a good thing. But if I was John Lasseter right now, I wouldn't be pushing the film back. I would just cancel it completely, but that's just my opinion. The next film I want to talk about is Toy Story 4. Toy Story 3 did something that very little third films in a trilogy can do. It perfectly wrapped the whole trilogy in a bow and left it as it was. That whole trilogy, as it is perfect. So I don't really see the need for them to make a fourth one. And to be honest, when I first heard that they were making a fourth one, I was more hesitant than excited, because where else can you go? He's gone to college, he's left the toys with the little girl. I mean they've made little short films after Toy Story 3, but there's not much you can do about a whole film. However, because it is Toy Story, I am still somewhat intrigued into what it's going to end up as. It's probably going to be good. The other three were good, so I don't see why this one should just be an utter disaster. However, it does raise a couple of concerns, the fact that it's been pushed back. It was originally set to be released in 2017, which was perfectly fine, to be honest. I don't really mind when it comes out. But now it's been pushed back an entire year to the summer of 2018. Now, if you're a fan of Pixar and Pixar alone, that won't bother you. You might be a bit annoyed that it's further away, but it still won't bother you. However, if you like DreamWorks, and I think some people might know where I'm going with this, then you might be a little annoyed. Now, I have a friend. His name's Ben, and he likes How to Train Your Dragon. And he was already really annoyed that it got pushed back from 2017 to 2018. And now the fact that Toy Story 4 has been pushed back a year to land pretty much on top of How to Train Your Dragon 3 is probably going to make him even more angry. Because the one thing that he keeps pointing out is that How to Train Your Dragon, even though the films are really good, I can't say because I haven't seen any of them, but even though they are good, they never win the Oscar because there is always a Disney film competing with it. Well, you're going to get that any year. There's always a Disney film coming out every single year, no matter if it's Pixar or Disney itself. But 2018 could have been the year that they could have, taken the Oscar for Best Animated Film home. But now that Toy Story have landed on the same year, that's gonna be very unlikely. Which, I find it quite funny, but I also find it a little bit annoying that Toy Story are deliberately pushing the films back. Some could argue that it's because they need to perfect the films and they need longer to do it in. But in my mind, they're just pushing Toy Story 4 back just so they can have a little bit of competition between Toy Story 4 and How to Train Your Dragon 3. The next film is Finding Dory. Now, I can't remember if this one is being pushed back, but I just want to talk about it anyway because it's a film that I think is unnecessary. Finding Dory is kind of like Cars 2. Whereas Cars wasn't even a good film in the first place, it was just there for toys to be sold. It's kind of the same thing with Finding Nemo and Finding Dory. Finding Nemo is a perfectly great film on its own. There is no need to make its comic relief the main character for a new film. The only reason that Finding Dory is being made is because Ellen DeGeneres wouldn't shut up about it until it actually got made. So this is pretty much just a passion project, and passion projects don't always turn out the way they're supposed to. The last one I want to talk about is Incredibles 2. Now, the first one is a perfect film, and we've been waiting for the sequel for years now, and by the time it does eventually come out, with whatever date they did push it back to, we're going to have to wait just over a decade. We will have waited a whole decade for a sequel. And that's not always a good sign, because sequels that take ages don't always turn out that well. I mean, we're already waiting long enough for Toy Story 4, and now it's been pushed back. You know, we're going to have to wait even longer, and it might not be the best. And it's very rare that the fourth film in a franchise that's been taken ages to be worked on doesn't always turn out good. It very rarely does. I mean, you got Mad Max Fury Road and Die Hard 4 are the only two good examples that I can think of where they took time, a lot of time, to work on them, and they actually paid off. But the fact that we've been waiting pretty much a whole decade for just one sequel to a great Pixar film, Incredibles 2, means that even though it may be good, it might not live up to expectations, seeing that we've been hyping up beyond belief for almost 10 years. And besides, the director Brad Bird, who is apparently coming back for The Incredibles 2, he's now into live action films. I mean, he did a great job with Ghost Protocol, and I think Tomorrowland. I haven't fully seen it, but you know, he's got other projects, and I know he has been working on The Incredibles 2 for quite a while and has been thinking about it, but he's established himself into two different types of films now, and even though he did make his name in animated films, he's kind of made a name for himself in live action as well, and because someone is so good at both, it's kind of hard to juggle them. Like I said, this is just all my opinion. Leave a comment below if you have any points of view of this whole Pixar pushing their films back. I'd love to see what you guys think about it. But to me, I just think some of them are really unnecessary, and some of them are actually for the worst rather than for the best. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. I'll see you guys very soon, and yeah, remember to like and subscribe, and like my Facebook page, The Media Critic. Yeah, bye guys.